Hey, what's up, guys? It's Bentley Kyle Evans, and we're back with another episode of the Hollywood Blueprint. And today I want to talk a little bit about the state of production, Hollywood in general, where it's going. Is it leaving Hollywood and going other places? Stick around. I'm going to talk about it. I just want to talk a little bit about the state of production, and is Hollywood going elsewhere? Well, I would have to say yes. And here's the reason why. This is my opinion, it's only my opinion, so it matters to me. Maybe you guys will agree. The state of Hollywood, as we know it, it's in trouble because there's so many tax advantages and tax incentives in other states, other countries, and Hollywood has been losing out because to me, it makes sense that we need to have some sort of tax incentives put in place so that it makes sense to stay here in Hollywood. So the reason why we've been losing out to states like Georgia, losing out to countries like Colombia, Dominican Republic, New Mexico, other states in general that are offering tax incentives, and it incentivizes productions to go to those other locations and shoot because they get 25, 30% tax breaks, tax incentives. Now, what does that mean? What that means is if you can shoot in, let's use Atlanta, Georgia, for example. You could do it anywhere in Georgia, but let's just use Atlanta. Atlanta is a metropolitan city, it's a big city, it's a good looking city, and it can double for a lot of different places. Although it's in the southern region of the United States, it still has this feel of big city life. They have a lot of old buildings there, and so it makes sense to utilize the backdrop of Atlanta. The state of Georgia has instituted a tax credit of 30%, which means that when you're shooting anything in that state, if you've gotten the approvals from the state, it means that you now qualify to shoot there, and you get 30% back in the form of a tax credit. Now, how is that an advantage for anybody? Well, let's just look at it like this. If you shoot a show and that show costs $1 million, that means you get $300,000 in a tax credit back. Now, you can utilize that 30%, or you can sell it to somebody else who's looking to buy a 30% tax credit to offset the taxes that they owe. It happens all day, every day. It's called hypothecating. And I've seen it happen over and over again. Same thing in Louisiana. Same thing again like in Colombia now. Even in the UK, they're offering major tax incentives. So what's happening in Hollywood is that everyone's fleeing Hollywood to go make these movies and TV shows and just content in general that fits within that 30%. Some are more than that. I know Michigan had a 40% one, but I don't think that they have it any longer. What needs to happen is Gavin Newsom needs to pass some sort of bill stating that they're going to institute some sort of tax incentive here in California, in Hollywood, and then some of those productions will start to come back here, because if they don't do that, we're going to be in major trouble here in Hollywood, and I don't want to move out of Hollywood. But I love the business. I'll go wherever I have to go to make it happen. Now, if I'm not mistaken, there's only 18% today. There's only 18% of all Hollywood productions taking place in California. And we started this gangsta-ish right here in California. So it's only befitting that we will continue on our quest right here in California. We need to bring productions back here. Tyler Perry, for instance, found, I guess, some sort of loophole. It's not really a loophole, but he found his niche by doing his stuff in Georgia, where I say he's king. He's the king of Georgia because he started his Tyler Perry Studios there. and kudos to him for finding a market where there wasn't a lot of activity taking place there, but because he felt that, hey, listen, I can build a studio here, and his studio's bigger than Disney, Universal, Warner Brothers, Paramount all together. He found the perfect space to do his productions. I think that if more independent filmmakers think like Tyler did and find an area where they can do these productions, where they have a tax incentive or tax credit, there are two different things. Tax incentive means they will actually give you back 30% of your money in cash after you did a production in that particular state. Now, the tax credit, of course, I've explained that. That is just in the form of a tax credit. Now, depending on the type of business person you are, that credit could be more valuable than cash itself. It just really depends. I think if more productions come back to Hollywood, then it will start to basically help our economy here, because when you lose Hollywood productions in Hollywood in general, not only do you lose the actors and the crew members, it's a domino effect because everyone suffers. And Hollywood, the Hollywood industry is it's like the biggest industry in California. It's the biggest surge of income in California by the Hollywood industry. It was built here, so that's what California is really known for. That's where we get a great influx of money that takes care of not only the studios, but the outside of the studios as well, like the restaurants that these Hollywood industry crew members eat at, the gardeners that cut the lawns and keep the landscaping nice on these wonderful lots. It's a trickle down effect. I mean, it hurts Uber drivers because now they don't have to take people back and forth. Like I said, it gets deeper and deeper, but that's the general idea. You lose so much for not just the content creator, but everyone else that it affects. So there are people that are literally losing their homes, losing their businesses because, let's just face it, Hollywood is on the ropes right now. I do think that it can make a comeback, and I did hear that the governor is instituting some sort of tax credit here, and if I'm not mistaken, I think it's $750 million that Gavin Newsom has approved. He hasn't signed it yet as of the time of this taping, but he has approved it. But what does that really mean? I don't know if it means a lot because, hey, 4 Tom Cruise movies might equal up to $750 million. So then what about the other filmmakers like myself and other independents that are out here trying to benefit from that tax credit as well? It puts us in a situation to where the money's all spent up, so now we're back to square one. So I think that it has to be something bigger than just $750 million in order for us to sustain ourselves as independents and also just as content producers in general right here in California. I think the reason why California has been chosen as the #1 place to shoot your content over the last, 6-7 decades is because the weather's nice year round and it just has a really nice aesthetic to it. The city and the state itself plays a wonderful part in producing lots of content. Well, now everything is shot in sound stages. And while we're talking about sound stages, I was just on the Warner Brothers lot recently, and I noticed that most of their sound stages are empty. That's a very scary thing because when I spent 5 years of my life on the Warner Brothers lot, all the sound stages were filled with either movies or TV series. There was a lot of content being produced on those sound stages on those major studio lots like Paramount, Universal Studios, Disney, Fox. But now it's a new game, and what's really happened is you can shoot content anywhere now because, let's just face it, you got green screen technology that has come in. Most of the commercials that you see on TV are really not shot on those locations. A lot of them are shot in sound stages. And so you can build a sound stage anywhere. Sound stages can be, I've seen them in Texas, I've seen them in Vegas, and a lot of productions are moving to Vegas. So what we're trying to do is stop the outflow and bring back inflow all the productions into California, because this is where I cut my teeth, and this is where a lot of content creators that I know have done their thing right here in California. A lot of people have come from different cities, and when you look at it and you see all these people coming to California to change their lives, to change their livelihood, it was a time where hooray for Hollywood, where everyone came here. But now, I don't know, it's a very scary time in the city of Hollywood, meaning the Hollywood industry itself, because can we continue to call it Hollywood, or do we just call it the entertainment industry? Because I think the word Hollywood is changing its meaning. It's no longer what it once was. So I think that if we do our best efforts to communicate and get the governor to give us more incentives to stay right here, well then Hollywood productions will return right here in Los Angeles. So that's my 2 cents on where these productions are going, why they're going, how we can keep them here. I'm Bentley Kyle Evans, and you will catch me on the next episode of The Hollywood Blueprint.